Hello, so this is a video for St. Monica and St. Augustine Parish going over how we are going to make rosaries in our rosary sessions. What you'll need, which I provided, was cord, about 9 feet, a rosary tying tool, a lighter, scissors, a medal of your choice, a crucifix, and 59 beads. To start out, you will take your cord and you will try to find the middle of your cord. Doesn't have to be super precise, but you want to find the middle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tie your first barrel knot. So what I find is helpful for me is I take the cord and the tool in my left hand like this, running parallel, and then I grab the cord and I use this finger, my pointing finger, to hold the cord, and then go around the back side of the tool, making sure the groove is facing you. And then I go over the cord I just went around with, making a cross or an X, holding the cord I was holding with my finger. And then I'm going to come back around parallel to that loop. And I like to go 3 times. You only have to go 2 times, but you can go, 6, 9 times if you want. It just makes it more difficult. It makes a longer knot, but it makes it more difficult to keep track of your loops when you're tying the knot. And then you want to find the end of this cord right here, which is right here. And then you're going to want to go through the groove in the tool, grab it, and you're going to pull this cord snug. And after that, I take my right hand, I gently slide the loops off of the tool. And then from there, you want to make sure you keep the loops in order, because if they cross, it'll make the knot messy. And if you keep them in order, it'll keep them in the knot looking tidy and neat. You can roll your fingers to tighten the knot more. And then you always want to make sure you tighten the knot, because over time it'll tighten itself. And so if you want the rosary, the distance between your knots and the beads to stay more consistent, you want to make sure you tie the knot very tight at first. So now you've made your first knot, and you want to take the cord, and you're going to want to put on 10 beads for your first 10 Hail Mary beads. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 'Sometimes your bead won't allow the cord to go through. You can use something about the size of the hole to bore it out, or you can use a drill bit. It's always important to make sure you double count so you don't have to redo your rosary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you slide those beads down to the first knot you made. And then you're going to tie your second barrel knot. So what I like to do is I like to set the bead in the groove to kind of hold it there, and then use my thumb and index finger to keep the bead there. And then I pull the rope towards the back of the tool using my index finger to keep it in place. Then I come over to make my cross, and then I go parallel, 1, 2 loops around, which equals 1, 2, 3. 3 loops, which is what I chose to do. And then again, you're finding the end of this cord and you're putting it through the groove on your rosary tool. Then, like before, you'll gently slide it off the rosary tool. And then tightening the knot, making sure the loops stay in order. I use my left hand to guide the loops and keep them in order. And then I use my right hand to slowly pull the cord tighter. And so here, what I like to do is I like to get pretty close to the bead, get it semi-tight, and then the final pull tight will leave about a bead to half a bead distance. And that is important to leave a little distance, because if you didn't leave any distance and you had the knot right here, that's a very stiff rosary. But with the distance, you can easily thumb through them as you're praying. It's a preference thing, how much distance you want. Some people might like it tight, but I like a little distance. So next, we'll do our Father bead. So we'll find the end of the cord, put our Father bead on, and we'll slide it to that knot that we just tied. And then again, I set the bead in the groove of the tool, holding it with my thumb and my index finger, and then I use my index finger to guide the cord around. 1 loop, 2 loop, 3 loops. And then again, I find the end of the cord and go through the loops in the groove of the rosary tool. Pull it snug, gently slide the loops off. I use my left hand to guide. You see here, the second loop is trying to go underneath the third loop. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. And then I'm just guiding the loops, keeping them in place, making sure they don't overlap. And with the Our Father beads, you can get as close as you'd like to the bead, because it'll be able to bend freely and you don't have to thumb through it. So I get it close to the bead and then I pull it tight. Find the end of the cord, and then I put 10 Hail Mary beads on for my second decade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, dropping beads, that's always good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Need one more. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slide them down to the knot. And then again, like before, I set the bead in the groove, holding it with my thumb and my index finger, my pointer finger. And I use my pointer finger to guide the cord, hold it before I cross over. Once you cross over, that'll hold the cord, and you can move your fingers into your second loop and your third loop. And then again, you find the end of the cord and go through the groove, through the loops, pull it snug. Then you gently glide the loops off your tool. And then you will guide the loops with your left hand or your right if you're left-handed. Everything's opposite. I glide it close to my bead before I snug it. So that's still pretty loose. Try to get it close, keep everything in line. And then once I'm satisfied, I'll pull it snug. You can kind of twirl it to make everything look nice. And then we'll do another Our Father bead. So we'll grab an Our Father bead, put it on our cord, and slide it to the knot. And then again, we'll tie a barrel knot. I'm grabbing the bead and putting it in the groove with my thumb and my index finger, and then guiding the cord along my index finger. I go around the tool, cross over the cord, making the cross, and then I make a second loop and a third loop. And then I find the end of the cord and go through the groove and through the loops, pulling the cord snug. And then I guide the cord, the loops, off of the tool. And then I make sure all my loops stay in order, getting the knot close to the bead. And again, with the Our Father beads, you don't have to leave at least a half a bead distance, but you can if you'd like to. And then you pull it snug, pull it tight. And then we'll do another 10 Hail Mary beads. If I can get it on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we'll double count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we'll slide our Hail Mary beads to our knot. And then like before, I'll grab the last bead with my thumb and index, and I'll use my index finger to guide the cord around until I cross it. And then I can move my finger around and do the second loop and the third loop. Then I can find the end of the cord, go through the groove, through the loops, pull it snug. I can slowly and gently guide the loops off, trying not to crush them, and then keep them in order as I pull the cord snug with my right hand and guide with my left, close to the beads, twirling it to keep everything nice and sleek. And then when I'm almost tight, I want to make sure I'm about where I want to be, and then I can pull the cord tight. Pull the knot tight. And that is the end of that side. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the knot where we started, flip the cord, and we're going to do on our father bead next to the knot, the first knot that we tied when we found the middle of the cord. So I'm going to string on one our father bead, slide it to that first knot we made because I flipped the cord, and then I'm going to tie another barrel knot. So I grab the bead, put it in the groove, set it in the groove, use my index finger to guide the cord until I'm over it, 1, 2, 3 times around. Find the end of the cord, put it through the groove and through the loops, pull it snug, gently glide it off the tool, glide the loops off the tool, and then I will glide the knot close to the bead. It's almost snug, and then I will pull it really tight. And now we'll do another 10 Hail Mary beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we'll slide them to the last knot we tied. It's always good to always double check that you're putting your Our Father beads in, because it's easy to get ahead of yourself and forget a step, especially when it doesn't look like a rosary yet. So I take the bead in my index and my thumb. I use my index to guide the cord around the back of the tool, cross over that cord, making a cross or an X. And then I do my second loop, my third loop. I use my index finger to kind of hold the loops there, find the end of the cord, and put the end of the cord through the groove and the loops, pulling the cord snug. And then I gently glide the tool out, and then I guide and pull and tighten the knot. Just keeping every loop in line, twirling it, and then pulling it tight. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 decades. So now we're going to do an Our Father bead. So we'll string one Our Father bead on, and we'll slide it to that knot we just tied. And the same, we'll put the bead in the groove of the tool, use my index finger to guide the cord, cross over the cord, 1 loop, 2 loop, 3 loops, find the end of the cord, put it through the groove of the tool, pull the cord snug, gently guide the knot off, and then we'll guide the knot and the loops, making sure they don't cross as I pull the cord tighter with my right hand. It's almost tight, so then I pull really tight. And now we need 10 more beads for our last decade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So after we count, we can slide the beads to the last knot, take our rosary tool, putting the last bead in the groove and using my index finger as a guide, holding the cord, come around the cord, make the cross, first loop, second loop, and the third loop. Then I find the end of the cord, put it through the loop and through the groove in the tool, pull the cord snug, gently guide the loops off, and then I twirl with my left hand, pull the cord, and gently push with my right hand, making sure all the loops stay in place. I get pretty close to the bead. It's not snug, but it's not tight. And then I pull the knot tight. And that generally will give me half a bead to a bead distance, which I like. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decades, which will make up our rosary. And the next step will be to string our medal on. Okay, so the next step is to string our medal on. So we got our medal, miraculous medal. And then we want to find our cord and string it through the split ring. And then we'll find the end of the other cord and string it through the same direction. We'll get the medal close to the knots. Try to make it even. It's hard to make it perfectly even. And then we're going to take our tool. And what I like to do is kind of keep the eyelet in the groove and kind of hold the eyelet like that there. And then we're going to tie a barrel knot, just like we did before, but with 2 strings, but we're going to act like it's 1 string. So I'm using my index finger again to hold the 2 strings there, and I want to come around with my 2 strings, cross over. It's good to take your time with this knot because it's a little more challenging with two cords. And then you just go around a second time. And for this one, I usually just go around 2 times because it just makes it more manageable, because technically we have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops with the 2 cords just going around 2 times. So then I find the cord that's closest would be the next loop. I find the end and I put that one through first. Pull it snug, and then I pull it up and kind of down so that it's out of the groove. So then I can put the second string through, hopefully easier. Then I pull that one snug. And then I grab both. I grab the loops, gently slide it off the tool, and then I do the same as I was doing with the other barrel knots. Sometimes these loops won't tighten as quickly as the other loops, so you can just pull the cords tight, spin them, and pull it tight. See, I'm pretty far, and they aren't even, but that's all right. You can never be perfect when you're making a rosary, especially your first one. And then I like to find the shortest cord, which would be this one. And I like to cut the shorter cord. So I'll take my scissors and I'll go pretty close to the knot, not too close, maybe 3 to 5 millimeters away from the knot, and I'll cut that cord, making sure I don't cut the other cord as well. And then I'll take a lighter, hold the other cord down with the knot, making sure I'm far enough away that I don't burn myself. And then I will burn and melt the one I cut so it doesn't fray. And it also will make it harder to pull through the knot. So the next bead we'll do is an Our Father bead. So we'll get one bead and string it on the cord up to the knot. And like before, we'll put the bead, we'll set it in the groove, holding it with my thumb and my index finger. And then I'll go around the back of the tool using my finger as a guide, cross over the cord, 1 loop, 2 loop, 3 loops around the tool. And then I'll come up and into the groove with the end of the cord and pull it snug. Then I'll gently glide the loops off the tool, and I will guide and pull, tightening the knot close to the bead. The knot is snug, and I'll pull it real tight. And then we need 3 Hail Mary beads. 1, 2, 3. We'll slide those 3 Hail Mary beads close to the last knot that we tied. We'll take our tool, set the bead in the groove like before, hold it with our thumb and our index, and use our index as a guide as we go around the back of the tool and cross back over the cord. Then we'll do our second loop, our third loop, find the end of the cord. We'll go through the groove and the loops, pull it snug, gently glide the tool out, and then we will tighten the knot, keeping all the loops in line. See right here, this first loop is trying to duck under. So I'll just gently try to correct that, pulling the knot closer to the beads as I go. The knot is snug, close to the beads, and then I'll pull it tight, which leaves about half a bead to a bead distance. Then I'll get our last bead, another Our Father bead, and I'll string that on the cord. String it all the way down to the knot, and then we aren't going to tie a knot yet, so we'll grab our crucifix, find the end of the cord, string our crucifix on, move our rosary to the other side. This is probably going to be the hardest knot for you, and you only tie it once. It's still a barrel knot, but it's just a little bit more challenging. So what I like to do is I like to put the eyelet into the groove of the tool, and then I like to pull the cord as I hold the crucifix into the groove like that. Pull the cord and the bead tight, and give about enough room, enough distance between the eyelet and the bead that you think a knot will take up. And then again, holding the crucifix with my thumb in the groove, I use my index finger to guide the cord. You got to kind of be patient with this knot. And then like before, I come and I cross over the cord, use my index finger to hold what I just crossed over. It's a little harder to keep track of all the cords now. So that's 1 time around, 2 time around, and 3 times around. And you can go more on this last one, or you can just go 3. And so with 3 times around, I use my index finger, and I hold the loops close to the tool. And then I'll take the bead, put it off to the side. Then I'll take my other hand and hold it. Take the crucifix, put it off to the side, hopefully giving me enough room to slide the end of the cord through the grooves, trying to pull this and the bead out of the groove. And then I'll pull that cord snug, take my right hand, gently glide it off the tool, and then I'll tighten this knot, trying to keep all the loops in line. Now you're almost done. get that nice and tight. And then again, you'll take the scissors. You'll bend the bead away. And again, you'll go about 3 millimeters to 5 millimeters away from the knot. Cut the cord. And then you'll take your lighter, keeping everything away from the flame, and you'll burn and melt the end of the knot until it's close to the knot. And then you've completed your rosary.